Welcome to LTU Perspectives, a journey into the experiences, stories, and adventures at Lawrence Technological University. A student-hosted podcast filled with insights and the intriguing stories that embody the LTU spirit.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of LTU Perspectives. My name is Chloe Hugg. I'm a media communications student here at LTU. I'm actually a former LTU softball player, and I'm sitting down with Coach Mike, head softball coach. He just started this year. Sounds like season's been going great. So how's it going today, Mike?
It's wonderful. Thanks for having me today. It's a pleasure to get to talk to you in this kind of atmosphere. But everything's going well here with the softball team so far. Just getting introduced to LTU and the academics and everything as well. So it's just going full circle.
That's awesome. Tell me a little bit about how that transition was for you just coming to LTU.
Yeah, came in a little bit late to the season here after some of the changes throughout last summer. I was previously at Lourdes University for the last 3 years as the assistant coach over there, and prior to that at Franciscan University of Steubenville. So had a little bit of coaching, obviously understanding the coaching experience and everything. And this first time as a head coach in the collegiate realm. I've been a head coach at high school, travel ball and everything as well. But a little bit more goes along with this when it comes to planning, travel, and all that kind of stuff. But it's going fabulous. It's been a great transition. Like I tell a lot of other people, it was like drinking out of a fire hose at first, just trying to get on campus, get the practices going, and learn all the admin stuff and everything with it as well. But I think we're finally getting over that hurdle and getting back to softball. So.
Right. That's awesome. So what ultimately brought you to LTU?
It was just an opportunity that presented itself over the summer, and I just knew what kind of culture, what kind of academics came out of LTU, and it was just very, very appealing to me just in order to get that opportunity to come over here. And once I started going through the interviews and meeting everybody on campus, it was, I could tell that all the other coaches were in that same kind of boat and everything. So it was just a wonderful feeling. And honestly, after I left the interview, I'm like, this is where I need to be. So it was just getting past those initial stages and then just getting over here and getting to work.
Right. That's the best feeling, knowing that this is for you. That's awesome. So you talked a little bit about culture. Can you kind of tap into that a little bit? I've heard, rumor has it that the culture is great. So just tell me a little bit about what this team has.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you never know before you get here kind of thing. You don't know until you know. And that was always my goal, is that I love culture. I want to, just obviously emanate culture everywhere we go. And I think that's what makes a winning program. I knew there was good culture already. My goal or my job is to make it better when it comes down to it. But my very first practice that we actually had, showed up, I talked to the girls a couple times on Zoom and everything like that. Got them ready, kind of prepared for what we were going to do. Very first day I showed up, everything was out, everything was ready to go. All the gear was there. They're like, okay, now what? And there was no one standing around. You could just tell how much they wanted to be here, how much they wanted to go to work. And it was just a wonderful feeling from there. I was like, okay, from that moment on, I was like, I made the right choice. So. Right,
that's awesome. How was that transition for the girls, would you say, just getting used to your coaching style compared to what they were used to before?
I think it's a learning curve for all of us, when it comes down to it. I'm learning the athletes, they're learning me and my coaching style as well. But I wasn't coming in to try to change everything. That was the whole idea when it came down to it. I wanted to see what was working, and we're going to kind of improve on that. And then obviously add my own special flair to it and everything. Right. And the nice transition for the fall is that I was able to retain Coach Dave, who was one of our previous coaches. So he's just fabulous. He was already there, understood the girls and everything. And then Coach Carey, we actually helped out with some of the pitching in the fall due to her schedule and everything. And then obviously being myself now, and then I actually brought my daughter, who was a University of Findlay player, over here to help coach here as well. So some of the old, some of the new, and it just kind of mesh it all together and make it ours.
That's awesome. So did you guys end up finding a different pitching coach, or you guys sticking with Coach Carey?
Unfortunately, due to Coach Carey's other arrangements and engagements that she has with work and everything, she was only able to help out in the fall. So as of, I think it was about a week and a half ago, we do have a new pitching coach on staff. She was a former Division I pitcher. Emily Robach. And then it's one of those things that it's just it's a pleasure to have her on staff now and obviously get to work with the girls. So
that's really cool.
Yeah. She's still trying to figure it out. I mean, she's just coming in now, so we're mid-season kind of stuff. So she's, obviously helping out with some of the little idiosyncrasies and getting everything fine-tuned. But I'm looking forward to her seeing a full season with us and seeing what she's capable of doing.
That's really cool. So as a coaching staff, what is your guys' main things that you're working on? What are your goals for the season, for the rest of the season?
Obviously, we want to come in. We want to continue to keep that culture. We want to win at the end of the day. That's what we're all tasked for here. As obviously making that WAC tournament, is always the big thing at the end. And I've always told my teams, if we make that tournament, we have a chance. So all you need to do is get there, and you got a chance to go to the national tournament. So. It's kind of our mindset that where we're at. I'm a big hitting guy. I'm a big run scoring guy. I love putting pressure on the defense when it comes down to it. So that's kind of where I'm focused with everything. With Coach Dave, you've been around him. How he loves to run the bases.
Yes.
I thought my teams ran the bases well until I met him, and now I know I'm like, okay, he's taking it to a different level. Now having Coach Emily on staff to work with the pitchers, that's going to help us be more rounded. And then obviously having Rachel on the staff, working with the outfielders, working with the hitters. It's just we're starting to figure it all out. So it's a nice little gel. We're meshing really well together, and I can't wait to see what the future brings for us.
That's really awesome. So do you know anything about any of the matchups that you guys have? Obviously, Madonna is always up there. Concordia normally is pretty good. So what are you scouting right now?
Yeah, that's the beauty of me being in the WAC for the last 3 years with Lourdes University. So I was able to have all my scouting reports and everything like that. And like going back, we played very well in Florida. We're on a high streak, and then coming back, we run into the buzzsaw that is Madonna. And we come out the top half of the first inning, score 5 on them. They come back and punched a couple, and then we wound up getting 2 more in the second. So we had a 7-2 or 7-3 lead going in the second inning. But unfortunately, Madonna is Madonna, and like I tell all girls against any team, if you let them hang around long enough, you're giving them a chance. And they wound up getting the bats came alive, and they wound up besting us in both of that series. But I think we learned a lot about ourselves. We learned a lot about what it was going to take to win the WAC, and I think the girls understand what kind of work needs to be done in order to come out on top.
Absolutely, and just like you said. Like once you get to that tournament, it's anybody can win any game. So it's really just about being gritty and like competing. Do you feel like the team has that component?
Yeah, think about it. I think we're 9-8 on the season right now. I think 2 or 3 of those wins are already walk-off wins. So we were down coming into the last part of the inning. We were just able to walk Cleary off the other day in a fabulous outing. And the girls they're understanding their roles, and whether we bring someone in off the bench, to pinch run late in the inning or a pinch hit, they're ready to go at all times. So yeah, it's nice to be able to have many options when it comes down to it. But yeah, as far as scouting goes, obviously, like I said, with Madonna, we had a good game plan coming into it. Kind of fell apart there at the end. But at the end of the day, if we can stick to our game plan and the process that we're doing, we need to be able to beat the teams that we're supposed to be able to beat, split with teams that are, with us, and, have that occasional one where we sweep somebody that maybe, we shouldn't have, or people didn't give us an opportunity to. We talked a little bit about scouting reports and everything. Yeah. I was able to bring all that stuff over with me, and Chloe Hugg is a name that was on my scouting reports when I was over there. So, obviously, I'm joking around with you in email, and would love to have you back and everything. I know you got a lot of things on your plate, but your name has come up a lot, and it's a pleasure to get to sit here and talk with you.
Honestly, it's a pleasure for me too. I remember that game. When we played you guys last year, I had a really good game that game.
You did.
So I don't know. I kept thinking about that whenever they said that you were coming. I was like, wow, I actually played really good that game when we were there.
You had a great game. I think I complimented you a couple times over there. I was over in the third base coach's box, and you were playing third base and everything. So no, it's just wonderful to get face to face with you and actually meet the person and the legend of Chloe Hugg.
I love that. Well, thank you so much. That's so kind. So kind of just shifting our point of view a little bit towards LTU. So obviously, that we've had a lot of new head coaches coming into LTU. Tell me a little bit about what it's looking like from the athletic side of everything.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that I talked about in my interviews, and I asked MA when I had the opportunity like that, I wanted to be the third coach in history here at LTU. So for myself, it's long-term. I'm looking to be here. The idea is to be here. I want to win that WAC championship. I want to go on to that national stage and everything as well. But it seems like for everyone that I'm seeing here in the athletic department and everyone I've been talking to, it's just been fabulous so far. So I know there's a lot of new coaches coming in from different sports and everything, but I think we're all sharing the same goals, and we're all sharing the same mindset of what it's going to take to make, really elevate everything within LTU. So I'm looking forward to being a part of that.
Absolutely. I see the growth. I see the difference in the mindset, I would say. I think that sometimes I feel like a lot of the teams are like, oh, we have the LTU curse, or we have this, this is just not going for us, but that's not the case. Everybody who plays sports knows that it's really about who wants it more. It's really about who really takes that extra step. And I think having that difference in perspective of all these teams is really, really beneficial.
Absolutely. You know, and it's been a blessed and maybe not I wouldn't say a curse, but throughout my whole career, when I first went into high school coaching, I took over a team that's 2-24. We wound up being top 5 in the state in Division I when I left to go to Lourdes University. When I had my travel ball team with Team Ohio, we started it at 16U with one team. Everybody told us we were crazy. We went 55-9 that summer, won 6 out of 8 showcases we entered, and took 3rd at nationals. And then obviously going into Lourdes, it was a 6-33 team that we took over, and I think almost tripled our wins within the first year that we were there. So I'm no stranger to trying to elevate a program, and that's what was really enticing about the LTU and the opportunity coming here is we're already a winning program, right. And I'm here now. My job is to elevate us even more to take that. So like I said, I've been used to being the bottom, kind of raising teams up, and now we're already above average. And my goal is again to come back with that WAC championship.
Just keep going. Yep. How are you doing recruiting wise? Doing
well. We luckily, again, coming in late, I had a nice help from Coach Baird, who had already recruited some individuals coming in. We were able to retain 4 of the 6 there. And then I have 2 others of my own recruits that I was recruiting heavily throughout the last couple years that are coming as well. So we have 6 commits for the freshman class coming in for the 25 class, and a handful of transfers that I'm still looking at. There's some JUCO kids and some other stuff too. So obviously trying to bump up that roster a little bit to get us where we need to be.
Yeah, that's cool. Talk a little bit about transfers, because I know we only had a couple transfers. So what does that kind of look like on your end?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the big part will be at the end of the season. We'll kind of see. I'm not going to be going crazy right now with transfer offers and everything, because you never know what you're going to wind up seeing. But getting a handful, I mean, there are some really good junior college programs around this area. So I've had a lot of those athletes that have reached out. And then I'll just continue to kind of keep my eyes open for other stuff. And it's nice having my daughter who played at Division II level and everything like that, and she knows a lot of other players too, so we might be able to steal a couple of them along the way. But it's nice, especially when you're bringing in these big freshman classes like that. I've always liked to have the transfers there, because now you have some more maturity coming in, and the kids that have seen it a little bit more. So.
Right, there you go. What are you looking for in an athlete who wants to come and be a part of your program?
Honestly, it's the proverbial question. Get asked at every camp, what are you looking for, Coach? What are you looking for? Outside of pitchers and catchers, I'm looking for athletes. I'm looking for people that are going to fit into our culture. Someone that's going to help elevate it. If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem in those situations. So it's one of those ones I watch a lot when they're not even playing. So when I'm out recruiting at travel ball tournaments, I want to see how they talk to their coaches. I want to see how they talk to their parents. I'm looking for good people that are going to be a good fit here, and already knowing what the culture is here. Last thing I want to do is taint that by bringing in somebody. So looking for good athletes with good attitudes.
There you go. You hit the nail on the head with that one. That was like the main thing whenever I was getting recruited, is like, they want to know if you're carrying your bag out to your car, if your parents are carrying your bag out to the car. They want to see that you always have a smile on your face and you're pumping up your team no matter what. And I think that's really important. Like, my main thing when I was playing softball was like the mental game. Like, that was what I just focused on the whole time, because obviously anybody can have talent, but like, if you can't get over hardship or get over failure, you're not going to be good the next time, and it's just going to keep dwindling. That's the name of the game. That's the name of the sport.
I mean, when you think about softball and even like baseball across the board, it's a game of failure, like you just brought up. I mean, you look at the MLB or anything like that, these guys that go 1 for 3 in a game, so throughout their whole career, if they can maintain that, they're a .333 hitter. They failed more than they succeeded. Those guys are going to the Hall of Fame.
Right.
So that's where we have to really understand it, and a lot of these kids are coming off of strong travel ball seasons, strong high school seasons and everything, and you got to kind of tell them to take a deep breath, because this is a different level. Everybody's at this level now, when it comes down to it. And I think the big challenges as well is a lot of these, especially incoming freshmen and, maybe even some transfers that you're bringing in for that first year, they're not used to having, 22, 24 on a roster. They're used to being a roster of 12 on their travel ball team, 12 to 15 on their high school team. And then, when people settle in and realize what they can do, this is the top level that we're going to be at. This is their last opportunity to play, and at the highest level, they've made it. So now it's about it. You got to remove the me and turn it into the we, and now it's all about that team level. So what can I do in any given game that one of these 22 people are going to step up and make something happen? So it's nice. Every day is something different. You never know who you're going to bring off the bench. It could be for a bunt. It could be to run. It could be to come in and just barrel one up. So
yeah, right. You got to be ready every single time. So you guys have a winning season right now, correct?
Correct.
So, but you guys have also lost a couple games. So tell me a little bit about that bounce back that you've seen your girls have.
Yeah, I think that's where it all comes down to. You know, obviously, winning teams are winning teams across the board. And again, when we left the other day, we took a couple losses to Madonna when it came down to it. And I reached out to the girls at the end of the day and I said, we cannot let this loss define us. At the end of the day, it's how you dust yourself off, how you pick yourself up, and come back the next day. And fortunately, we were able to walk off Cleary in the bottom of the 7th inning with a big hit that we had, a big double that scored 2. So it's having those kind of games, having that mentality of we're not in panic mode, the game is not over, and I've tried to keep telling the girls the game doesn't know. So I tell them all the time, I wish everybody just wore white T-shirts. You wouldn't know what team they are. You wouldn't know anything when it came down to it. And the game does not know. Until that umpire says game over, there's still life out there, and we have to continue to fight. You know, we're going to run into some of those dog fights this year, and we're going to find out what we're really about. You know, are we digging deep in this one, or are we going to roll over and just say, forget it, we'll get back to the next one, you know? But so far this season, that's one thing I'm so impressed with, that there is no quit in this team. So even the games that we've lost, we're fighting till the end. They're not rolling over. So very, very proud of their accomplishments so far.
That's awesome. Man, you're making me miss it. I won't lie.
Well, we can try to get that 1 year of eligibility back. You know, you didn't understand this was going to be like an interview to get you back on the team as well. So
I love that.
Just keep your options open, Chloe.
I will. I know. Everyone keeps telling me that. I'm like, I definitely will keep my options open.
You are missed for sure. Your name comes up a lot. So you got some really good friends on the team.
Oh, I love them so much. I love them. I wanted to ask a little bit about, you said you like to hit. How do you feel about small ball? How are you doing there in that category?
I let the game talk. You know, it's one of those things when we need to do it, that we absolutely will. We do have some speed on the team, so we'll do that to get ourselves on. If you kind of notice, like through a lot of my lineups, you'll see a lot of speed early on. Then we heavy load with some bats, and then we go right back to the speed again, heavy load. So it's almost like you go 1 through 4, 1 through 5, and then flip it again, 1 through 4, 1 through 5. So I think a big part of my game is just putting pressure on the defense. And, you know, obviously you being playing with Coach Dave, you know how he likes to run and everything as well. Like to put a lot of runners in motion. We'll do some bunting runs. We're stealing. You know, obviously getting our hit and runs in. One of your old teammates, Lily Morissette, actually broke the stolen base record already for a career. So she surpassed that a couple of games ago. So she's now, awesome. I believe, the sole leader for stolen bases here in her career.
That's awesome.
We're going to continue to ramp that number up this season as it goes on, and go from there.
Of course, the season's just beginning. Right? That's awesome. That's so cool. I love her. All right, so how has LTU supported your transition? How would you say that the athletic department has helped you?
You know, from day one, it was just wonderful. Even like I said, going back to the interview process, everybody was very communicative. There wasn't lag in time or anything like that, whether it was from the, you know, just an internal athletic department to some of the coaches that I reached out to. But I have not had a coach tell me, hey, forget about it when I ask them a question or anything like that. They are all like, hey, here's what we do. Here's what I did in the past. And they've just been very welcoming. And it's kind of the same culture that you see with the players, with the coaches as well. Everybody's willing to step in, offer a helping hand, and it just gives you that warm, fuzzy feeling for sure.
I love that. All right, well, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been such a pleasure. I'm so glad that we got to chat. I love it.
Yes, I appreciate your time, Chloe. It was a pleasure to actually get face-to-face with you, and now you have my contact information if you decide that you want to get that eligibility back and get back on this team. So,
all right,
but thank you for your time today.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for joining another episode of LTU Perspectives. This has been Chloe Hugg with Coach Mike.